Does this sound painfully familiar? You've got a qualified prospect on the phone and you think things are going well, but when you get to the end of the call, you don't know exactly how to seal the deal in one call close. So you default to booking a follow-up call and you hope for the best. At the end of the call, your prospect swears to you that they are in, they just need to check in with their spouse, or they just need 24 hours, and this is how they make buying decisions. But no matter what, they tell you over and over and over again that they want to do it and they're in 100%. And then the day of the follow-up rolls around, and an hour before the meeting, you get an email saying your prospect canceled the call or they just ghost you altogether. If you're an online coach or closer, how much revenue are you losing and how much time are you wasting with this same exact scenario playing out over and over and over again? If you're sick and tired of losing sales due to your inability to one call close, then this video is for you. There's 4 things that you must implement into your sales process to ensure that you can one call close cold prospects at least 60% or higher. Before we dive in, understand this. These 4 things are the exact same things that I've been using for the past 6 years in the online high ticket space to consistently close at least 60% of the calls that I take on the very first call with totally cold prospects. And up until now, it's been my best kept secret between me and my clients. This is the exact same strategy that my 19-year-old client Leon is using inside of his business. He teaches people how to become appointment setters, and he collected $73,000 in cash in 10 days. Grayson is a closer inside of my program and used this strategy to close 4 paid in fulls in a single day, totaling $28,800 in cash. Adam used this to close at 60% and collect $77,000 in cash for his men's fitness coaching offer. Natalia is another closer inside of my program and used this same strategy to hit an 81% close rate for a career coaching offer that she's currently selling on. Stefan was able to raise his close rate to 89% and collect $97,000 in cash using the exact same 4 steps that I'm about to lay out for you in this video. And my client Rachel just used this to do $181,000 in cash in a single month, and she said that she would have paid $100K for this strategy. Luckily for you, I'm about to lay it out inside of this video for free. So let me break down for you the 4 things that you need to do to flip totally cold prospects into paying customers on the spot. Pause this video, grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to write this down. These 4 steps may sound simple, but after doing this with over 500 coaches and closers in the past 6 years, at least 2 of the 4 are consistently missing from their sales process, which is prohibiting them from being able to one call close cold prospects on the spot. The very first thing that you need in order to one call close at least 60% of the prospects that you talk to is the proper mindset. You get to keep the beliefs that you're willing to fight for, and so often I'm coaching my clients and they have this belief that one call closing isn't even possible. They try to sell me that their niche is different and their ideal client is special. In the way that they acquire their leads, the prospects come in way too cold, so they can't one call close them. I just built this company here to $491,000 a month in cash, and every single lead was being booked from cold email. They were getting on the call with me wondering who the hell I was and what I was even selling. Most of them didn't even remember booking the call. And by the end of that call, they were pulling out a credit card for $9,800 paid in full with little to no objections. Imagine being able to take a cold prospect who has no idea who you are, and in an hour or less, they're pulling out a credit card to pay you $9,800. That's possible, but it all starts with having the right mindset around it. There's an exercise that I do with my clients that I want to share with you, and what it looks like is every single time you get a new sales call booked, you put out to the universe that this person is going to pay you. They're going to pay you in full on the first call with little to no objections. Meaning if you see a prospect named Mike book on your calendar, once you see that booking, you need to say out loud, heck yeah, Mike is a new client. Mike is going to pay me in full and I'm going to change his life. What most coaches and closers do is they see an application come in and they start to nitpick and scrutinize every tiny little detail on that application. You keep fighting for those beliefs that it's impossible to one call close Mike. So what do you think happens? Mike shows up on the call. He gives you one objection. Your energy falls off a cliff. And then you get off that call booking a follow-up saying, see, I knew it. I knew Mike wasn't going to one call close, but remember, You get to keep the beliefs that you're willing to fight for. And the beliefs that I fight for is the fact that every single prospect, assuming they're a good fit, has the ability to one call close and enroll into my program. Now that we have our mindset right, believing that it's even possible, the second tactical step that we need is a great discovery. Discovery is the portion of your sales call where we ask questions about our prospects in order to obtain information about them. The difficulty is most people are doing a very surface level discovery. They're not getting down into the nooks and crannies of this prospect and understanding them at a high enough level to get them to buy on the very first call. People gauge your level of intelligence based on the quality of the questions that you ask, not the statements that you make. Discovery is the portion of the call where we ask the questions and they give us the answers. We don't want to make any statements. We just want to make it like a game of ping pong. Question, answer, back and forth over and over and over again. I will spend 15, 20, 45 minutes, as long as I need to spend in discovery, to get all of the relevant and important information out onto the table. As we start to information gather, a couple of things happen. Number one, it gives us the ability to pre-handle any existing objections. If you don't ask, you simply don't know. So you need to figure out their timing, their commitment, their decision-making process, what they're looking for inside of a program. Is there anybody else in their life that they're going to go to for feedback? We need to get all of the information out onto the table and make sure that there's no underlying objections. And if an objection does come up, we can then handle it proactively during discovery rather than reactively after we drop the price. How many times have you been on a sales call that you thought was going great, you drop the price, and then they just start throwing out objections left and right? The objections to you are coming out of left field and you're totally blindsided and you don't really know what to do. When I get to the end of my call and I drop my price, I've already pre-handled any and all objections, so they don't really have anything to say except, do you take American Express? I'm in. To do a great discovery, I'll make this very simple. Think about how the doctor walks into the room when you're at their office. They're not making a bunch of statements. They keep the main thing, which is why you're here, and they just ask you question after question after question, and they take their notes. That way they can properly diagnose your situation and prescribe a solution. The key here is depth. If you ask one good question and they give you a good answer, ask follow-up questions to their answer and keep going deeper and deeper until you get to the bottom. Once you get to the bottom of something like, say, timing, then we can crawl back out and we can move horizontally to another discovery topic. And then we excavate that as deep as we need to go to make sure that we have the information and there's no underlying objections. If you rush through your discovery when you transition into your pitch, your prospect doesn't believe that this is the best solution for them. Why? Because you simply didn't spend enough time understanding their situation, so they don't trust your prescription. In order to buy, we must align a prospect's head with their heart, or they will not one call close no matter what. Aligning their head is pretty easy. That's the logical piece and that's your pitch. Aligning the emotional piece and their heart, that's done in discovery. When you spend time with them to allow them to feel seen, heard, and understood, they know nothing about your program, your price, the length, the results, nothing, but they already emotionally feel compelled to work with you. And then when you transition into your pitch and you logically show them the step-by-step, head, heart aligned, one call close. Speaking of pitch, the third thing that we need to do to ensure that we can one call close prospects at a ridiculously high rate is we must have a clean price drop. A confused buyer can't buy, and if your price drop is super lengthy, hard to compute or understand, your prospect's just going to say they need time to think about it or ask if you can send the details to them in writing. After taking 7,000 sales calls and consistently closing on the first call at above 60%, here's the formula for the cleanest price drop by far. That formula is time, result, price, and here's what that looks like. Yeah, so Mike, to work together for the next 6 months to help you lose those 45 pounds, it's either 2 payments of $3K or a one-time investment of just $5K. We call that a paid in full price drop. So what you're doing is you're saying the program is $6K if it's split on a payment plan, or we can discount it if you paid in full upfront. I'm also stating the length of the program being 6 months, which I've already done in my pitch, but I just want to remind them. And then I'm helping them focus on the benefit of what they're hiring me for, which is to lose that 45 pounds. When you do the paid in full price drop, you need to make sure that your numbers can be computed in their head without a calculator. 3K times 2 is obviously 6,000. They don't need a calculator to do that, but I've seen so many people have super crazy numbers that people just can't compute on the spot. If they can't compute it on the spot, it kills all of the momentum so close to the finish line where they have to ask you the math or they have to pull out a calculator. And again, a confused buyer can't buy. Keep the numbers simple and easy to compute and make sure that your price drop is short, sweet, and to the point. You don't want to keep talking after you give them the numbers. Your time to sell is now over. And the more you talk after you give the price, the more insecure you appear to your prospect. When you drop your price and then say nothing, it shows that you're 100% confident and convicted in the numbers that you just put out on the table. But guess what happens after we drop our price? Sometimes we end up in objections land, which leads me to number 4, which is your willingness to go to war at the end of the call for your prospect. Sales is service. People ask me all the time, they say, don't you feel salesy at the end of the call? Don't you feel pushy when you hold people accountable? And I answer that question with a question and I say, don't you feel like shit when you don't hold people accountable? And then you run into that prospect on the street a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, and you ask them how they're doing. And guess what? They're not doing great. They're probably in the exact same situation they were 3, 4, 5 years ago when you originally got on the call with them. If nothing changes, nothing changes, and it's your duty and your obligation to help these people make a buying decision so they can get life-changing results inside of your program. Stop being afraid of holding people accountable and telling people what they need to hear. This might be the very first time in this prospect's entire life that somebody has stepped up, stepped out, and held them accountable and told them the truth that probably doesn't feel that great to hear, but it's exactly what they need to hear so they can change the trajectory and shape the rest of their life. If they had good people holding them accountable in their life, they probably wouldn't be down bad on this call to begin with. And they just sat there for 49 minutes and told you how bad things are, and you're just not going to handle their objections and leave them stuck where they're at. That makes you a shitty human and a shitty coach. These people need you, and if you do a thorough discovery, you clearly understand how badly they need you. They're probably just a little bit afraid to make a buying decision. Most people don't just wake up on a Tuesday afternoon and say, yes, I can't wait to spend $5,000 or $6,000 today and invest into a mentor. This is probably one of the bigger investments that they've ever made in their entire life, and they're just a little bit scared to spend that money. So the longer you hang in the buying pocket and you go to war for your prospect, the more we can start to reframe their mind and overcome these limiting beliefs. I call this the law of increase, and it's leaving everything and everyone better than you found them. But if you just get on the call and get them temporarily excited just to book a follow-up call that 99% of the time they're going to cancel or ghost, you're not helping these people move in the direction of their dreams. You must be willing to go to war for your prospect and help them get out of their own way so they can start to move in the direction that they've been wanting to move in for so many years. They've told you they need help. Now we help them by getting them into our program, and sometimes that comes with a little bit of objection handling and going to war on our prospect's behalf. Now here's the best part of these 4 steps. Now that you're enrolling more prospects on the first call, you can use that newfound revenue to fund your ad spend and your marketing that much further. That means each new client that you're enrolling on the first call is paying you to then reinvest that money back into your ad spend to book even more calls. This creates an infinitely scalable client acquisition system that doesn't require you to spend a dime out of pocket. I've taken over 7,000 one-to-one high-ticket sales calls, and I've mastered the art of one-call closing. If you're looking to shortcut the learning curve and have me deep dive your sales process, your price points, your ideal clients, and the most common objections that you're getting, and show you step by step how you can start closing at least 60% of the prospects that you talk to on the first call, click the schedule a call button down below. If you're a coach or closer taking at least 15 sales calls per month, but you're struggling to one-call close, click the schedule a call button down below, and I'll show you how to get so good at sales. The only question your prospect will have at the end of the call is, do you take American Express? And before you tell me, Austin, my niche is different, my client acquisition system doesn't allow for one-call closing, You're incorrect. Sales is sales, psychology is psychology. I've taken the toughest offers and turned them into cash flow printing machines using these 4 strategies and a ton of others. It all comes down to optimizing your sales process, allowing you to one call close even the toughest prospects in the toughest niches. Click the schedule a call button down below so we can chat one-on-one, and I'll show you how.